Hey, how's it going? It's me, Ricky, and Romy the dog as well. Romy's going to hang out with us while we do functional conditioning yoga, and I'm absolutely sure she'll be very well behaved. Look at her. She's not the most well behaved dog. She might do a wee. She's not fully house trained yet. She's just a puppy still, but she's getting there, and I'm going to just let her run around and entertain us and be a slight distraction, but not enough to take away from the smart mobility stuff that we are doing. So let's go through housekeeping of how this works. It's exploration of your mobility. We aren't just playing copy me and do what I do. You have to think, you have to look internally and think about how your stuff works and if you can make it work any better and make it just work nice as well. So nothing we do should hurt. It should all feel kind of like ushering your muscles into a new length nicely so that you can start doing these tasks really well. All right, let's start with perched right on the end of your sofa with your hands on your knees and see if you can just sit up tall. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue, and breathe. That's it. And it is just breathing. Just breathing. Make ribcage expand and draw back in. Ribcage expand and draw back in. And then see if you can do a little bit of a side bend. Squeezing ribcage down towards one side, down towards the other. Ribcage down towards one side, down towards the other. And think about this as your analogy for how yoga works, that one side lengthens, one side shortens. Wherever you send your attention, that's where the thing happens. So when you think about strengthening, think about the shortening side. So as I lean over this side, I think about contracting these muscles down the sides of my belly, maybe even trying to pull this shoulder blade down to squeeze into that end range. And then this side just lengthens, but I can't tell that this side's lengthening because I'm all in, my brain is thinking about this stuff. And then as I go over to the other side, think the same. Can I get a shoulder blade to join in? It feels really different when I do. I'm just kind of like sending my brain to the place that the thing is happening. And then just go back to kind of bouncing side to side. And then if you think about the lengthening, kind of think about, start doing more stuff. I like change the angles a little bit. I'm looking for this feeling like this could be a little bit of a stretch. I find it really hard to find, but that's what I'm looking for. That's what I start searching for, and then on the other side, do the same. And we can do the same with every stretch that we do in yoga, that we can get this relationship between lengthening and shortening, lengthening and shortening. Okay, then let's look at spine stuff. So with your hands just on the end of your knees, still perched on the edge of your sofa, can you flip the rib cage up and then pull rib cage down and back? Rib cage up and down and back. Rib cage up and down and back. And you're trying to arch your back this way, like a C shape, and then you're trying to slouch yourself into C shape this way. And I think slouch is quite a negative term, but it's the best way that I can use to describe that shape, that it isn't negative to be in that shape. It's only negative when you spend too long there and you lose the ability to get this working really nice. So, let's see. And then see if you can tune this in to just lower back. So after you've done this globally, where you flip the rib cage up and arch your back and then pull rib cage down and back, I can then start seeing if I can just make the pelvis tilt. And this pelvis tilt is super important to how the muscles in your thighs work, hamstrings and quads mostly. That as I go into extension, so I flip the coccyx up and my kind of rib cage flips forwards, it lengthens the back of my legs, and then as I tuck tailbone, shortens the back of my legs, and I can actually feel it. If you put your hands underneath your hamstrings, if you're doing this well with a lot of movement, you should be able to feel like something really internal as you go into extension, lengthening and then shortening, lengthening and then shortening. That's it. Cool. Then let's have a little think about that as we go into a standing hamstring stretch. So I want you to have one foot in front of the other, and the back knee needs to bend. So when you bend the back knee, see how my hips travel backwards, My toes are just pointing out slightly, and I move those hips back, and I can move hips side to side, and I can start just slouching down, and finding that stretch just down this front leg's hamstring. And remember, this back knee has to bend, and your hands can do what they want, so they can rest on your knee and see if you can drop belly down, move hips side to side, and just hang out in that passive hamstring stretch. And it should feel kind of nice. And the way that you pitch your weight changes things. So if I fall forwards, use big toes, stop me. If I rock back, I can feel the weight drop into my heels. All of those little changes are kind of relevant. And just see how I've got my belly quite close to my thigh here. So I'm trying to get this to close up. And you can use the sofa even, so I could have my elbow on the sofa, I could have my hand out on the end of the arm of the chair. All of this stuff kind of works to help me understand different options within having this muscle here down the back of this straight leg lengthening. Keep breathing here. Then see, you can peel yourself up. I want you to try and find that stretch from the top down. So tuck your chin, let your arms hang, bend the back knee, and just kind of slouch all the way down. And then as soon as you find stretch, pick yourself back up, and peel back up. Come back down again. Back down. Nice. Then back up. Yes. And then last one. Going all the way down. Find stretch and then just hang out. Oh, she just got me right in the nose. Headbutted me. Amazing. Okay. Then pick yourself back up. So we played then with having your spine do a lot of movement and hanging off of the hamstring. We can do that, and I want to see if you can make yourself like a book. And the hinge, the spine is here. The spine of the book, that's confusing. So you're just going to make only this hip hinge happen and bend the back knee. So your lower back is going to go into extension. So you're trying to peel rib cage up and bring your coccyx back, bend the back knee, keep that bent, and just try and close this without letting your upper back go. I think what would be really useful for you is to video this, or at least look in the mirror and see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades together as you do this. Maybe even reach your hands back and see if you can make flat back and look for that stretchy feeling down the back of this leg, and explore moving hips side to side so your shoulders move with the hips. That's it. And pick yourself back up, and it should feel like hamstring is the thing that picks you back up. Hamstring is the thing that lengthens as you come back down. Coming back up, back down, back up, back down. Nice. And let's swap legs. I'm going to spin around just because I think it's easier to see from here. Just tilt this down a bit to make sure you can definitely see my feet. I think you can, but it might help. There we go. So, back knee has to bend like this. See how my foot is pointing slightly out on the back foot? Back knee bends and my hips travel back. Sit on this back leg being bent, and then just tuck your chin round your back and let yourself hang until you can maybe get belly close to the thigh. And you're understanding that this hip hinge, this distance between your belly and the top of your thigh can close up. You can use the sofa, you can use the floor, you can use your hands on your legs, whatever you think is helpful for you to understand and how to look for this lengthening feeling down the back of your leg, and then see if you can wave hips side to side. Relax your jaw. Just keep hanging out. Remember, it's exploration, so moving around a little bit is really helpful, and then pick yourself back up. I didn't pick myself up how I taught on the other side, but that doesn't matter. We'll do it this time. So bend the back knee, round your back, and let yourself slouch down and think about when this feeling of stretching happens in the back of this leg as you drop, as you drop, as you drop. It's about there for me, but then I've got this extra little bit and I can just get palms to floor. I haven't got this knee locked out. I've got the front knee straight, back leg a little bit bent, and I'm just playing. And pick yourself up nice and slow. Perfect. Now let's see if you can get having your spine stay set. Whatever shape you put your spine in when you're stood up. We're stood up with our feet split like this. Just got normal shaped spine. It's not that different to how I walk around through life. Look, I've got a little curve in lower back, little curve up here. That is it. It goes like an S shape. So I'm going to try and keep that. Squeeze shoulder blades together, bend the back knee, and push hips back, and try and lift the coccyx, lift the hips, keep dropping, and try and understand that you can keep this spine shape. And notice how I cannot close the book quite as tight as I can when I use my lower back to curl over with it. It's just this neat hip hinge that is singular, not singular, but isolated is a better word. So just the hamstring stretching and stability happening here. My favourite things to teach are the things that people have to work out for themselves. If you do this and you record yourself or look in the mirror and you keep on doing this with your spine, or you keep looking through your legs like this, then your upper back is going to round like that, and that isn't it. It's not bad to do that, we just practice doing that. I just want you to be able to have both of those skills, and they're separate from each other, and they bleed into each other, and they bleed back into the other one, and it's like you've got all of these options to be able to reach down and lengthen muscles down the back of your legs. And it all will go so much better for doing that. Okay, and then let's see if you can sit in a little mini chair pose, like quarter squat, barely even in a squat like this. I want you to put your hands in lower back and squeeze shoulder blades together, and see if you can tuck tailbone under and bring it into extension. Tuck tailbone under and then bring it into extension. So your tailbone is tilting like this, whole pelvis is tilting, and your knees stay still. So if you look down and see how your knees are over the top of your feet, see if you can keep them there and show lower back how to move, and work out what you're using to make this happen, to get this control. And as you go into extension, which is getting more of this arch in the lower back, you should be able to think about lengthening the hamstrings. Not a stretch, just like this bottom of your bum cheek travels back away from the knee pit, which is essentially hamstring, start of the hamstring stretch. And as you tuck tailbone under, you can feel those hamstrings pulling tight. Not pulling tight, but pulling closed, like they're shortening. Then extension, flexion, flexion. And just keep moving your hands actually. Just feel what's moving, what's not, what's easy, what's hard. It should get kind of tiring on your thighs because you're holding yourself in this little squat. It'll be good. Yes. There we go. Okay. And then let's look at some groin stretches. So standing with your back against the sofa, so your calves are touching. Look, so I'm almost falling over backwards, but my calves are touching to give me a bit of help. Hopefully you can just get fingertips to the arm of the chair and bring your leg out to the side like this. If your knee doesn't like this sideways on, then you can put your foot on something a bit lower. I've got my little footstool that's just a little bit lower. That is a bit easier for me and doesn't get this knee as much if you've got a little bit of a vulnerability having the weight sideways on your knee here. Or you could even have this bent like this and look for pulling this knee out like that. So knee further away from knee is the same as doing this mobility stretch. And it's kind of humbling work. Put it on the sofa. Humbling work because if you think about someone who can do splits this way, they might need this. I can get there, but I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just cheating. My spine is doing this C shape this way to hike this hip up, and I'm then sharing it between the two. That isn't what I'm after. However, if you are really bendy, this might win for you. We're just going to settle. We're going to settle here, and I want you to settle here because we're going to do some shoulder stuff as you stretch this groin. Look for this feeling of stretching down the groin. And again, looking for that stretching down the side of the groin, but really it's down to your body type and what you've got, that you might feel it around the top of your hip here more, and that's okay as well, as long as it's not painful. I want you to get palm up on this left hand if you've got left leg out, wrap your other arm around the rib cage and try and lift this up, bring it back, and then push it into your bum, and then bring it back, around, bring it back, palm up. And as you come back, the back of your hand touches against your bum cheek, and then you try and push, then bring it back, bring it back. It's this little push forwards that I'm after. And look for the end of your shoulder. As you rotate around, keep trying to push into end ranges all the way. Push, push, bring it back, push, push, bring it back. And last one. There we go. And then start pushing your foot down. So your foot pushes down through the sofa. You should be able to feel this groin. Do the thing. Keep pushing, keep pushing. And then this bit is going to be the hard bit. I want you to try and lift your foot from the hip here without leaning off to the side too much. Keep lifting, keep lifting. Hold, hold. 3, 2, 1. Oh, so terrible. So difficult. I didn't say it that time, but remember that you can just do intent. So that means that you don't have to lift it up like this and get air time. You can just engage and imagine like you could maybe start to get it lifted, but it just feels like the end of the hip. But otherwise, we just hang out here, play around, find the shape that works for you. Oh, it feels a bit crampy in this hip today for me. I think I'm all right. I'm going to try and give myself this option. That's it. Perfect. I think I've got it. I can just maneuver myself to find stretch down the inside of the thigh. Let's go palm up. Bring it past your cheek, past your ear, bring it around back behind you, and then push back your hand into your bum cheek, and then bring it back, back up. Keep this going. That's it. Couple more. Remember that little push, back of the hand against the bum cheek. You're trying to find the end of your shoulder all the way around. Cool. And then let's see if you can push your foot down into the sofa, into whatever you've got your foot on. See if you can load it up and find groin muscles here, engaging. And then get into intent to lift this foot. Come on then. Oh, so difficult. 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go. And then just show me that you've got internal, external rotation of this hip, like this. We've been kind of hitting the same poses quite a lot in this class. I'm going to stick with it because I want you to be able to feel like you're improving and understanding it more and more. The more times you do it, the better you get at it, rather than bouncing around a lot of different poses. So I'm going to do this elevated 90-90. I've got this here, which is great because it means you can look at me sideways on, but you can use the sofa the same. You put ankle on and then you sit on it like this with your leg behind you. So if you can imagine that if I was sat on the sofa, I'd be facing into the sofa with my face hitting showing the back of the sofa. And then I want you to drop your belly on top of your thigh. So as you drop down, maybe you can get fingertips to the floor, and then just see if you can be passive and be relaxed here. As you breathe in, feel ribcage expand. As you breathe out, soften more and draw the belly button in. Expand, draw in. expand, draw in. Keep relaxing the jaw. So every stretch that we do, you'll notice this push and this pull after the passive stretch. I think that it works. I know it works. It's really important that you can find the ability to grip on with the muscle that's lengthening, to be able to do work with the stretching muscle. So if you hang in this shape and then start pushing your shin down through the footstool, through the sofa, through the chair that you're doing this on, you should be able to get contraction in the muscle that's stretching. And push yourself up and see if you can, and lift your knee up to your armpit. So you've got to use your hands, so I'm going to push my hands down and lift. And it feels like the muscles in my belly are working hard at trying to get understanding of lifting this, and I'm owning the shape. So if you think about being down here like this, as I lift up, I'm trying to lift knee to armpit and be as strong as I am flexible. And then just soften and see if that feels any different as you drop yourself down and move and explore. See how that feels. Good. Cool. And bring yourself back up. Let's try the other leg. So we'll go straight into the other leg and then we'll do a little bit of movement and articulation. So put your ankle on and then you drop your bum down into seated like this, and then drop yourself over your thigh. Just try and soften. Relax your jaw and keep dropping. Keep breathing as you get lower. I'm just seeing that the dog has found something to chew that doesn't look like something he should be chewing. She should be chewing. Who knows what that is? So just keep hanging out here. Keep hanging out in the stretch. And then push just a little bit. Start pushing your shin down through the floor. Keep loading up, loading up. Pick yourself up and see if you can lift the knee up to your armpit. This is so hard. Keep lifting, keep lifting. Yes. And then drop and stretch. And let's get into some more spine stuff after this. There we go. So if you bring yourself in seated on a little stool like this, footstool is ideal. Hi Robbie. This is perfect for me because I can just move sideways on for you, and my knees are a bit higher than my hip, which I kind of like. If you round your back like this, we're going to try not to perform here. I'm going to try and perform here. Rib cage up. I want you to cross your arms over your chest and keep your chest up and hinge until you feel the end of your hip. And see how my knees are wide enough that my torso can fit in between here. I want you to tuck your chin round upper back, middle back, lower back, drop yourself down, pick yourself back up and sit back up. Notice how I'm separating out hip hinge. So this is just this neat hinge that my spine isn't changing. And then when I hit the end of that, I'm going to round my back and see if I can lengthen everything down the back of my t-shirt, and then shorten everything down the back of my t-shirt, and then use that to pick me back up. Romy. Then try again. Hinge, curl down, pick yourself back up, and then back up. Right, mate. Hinge, curl down, and pick yourself back up. Hinge, curl down, and pick yourself back up. And just really try and understand how you've got this hip hinge, which is from the femur into the hip socket. and your whole pelvis tilts because it's in the hip and not a spinal thing, and you can separate them out and then bring them together. When they want to work together, you can do them both together and you're all happy, but really you've got the skills of both of those and they can both do the thing, and then you have all of the options. And let's get a little bit of rotation. So as you sit here, can you rotate? Rotate, you're at the end of your hip hinge, trying to keep chest up. Keep this going. Breathe in, relax your jaw. Yes. And sit back up. And just do me a little bit of pelvis tilt, rolling tailbone under, untucking tailbone, tailbone under, untucking tailbone. And then you've got both ways. You're trying to think about it, think internally, like what are you moving, how are you moving it, what muscles are you using? And the more you use your hands, the more you try and understand it, the better. That's it. Nice. Go. And then let's have a little look at doing a little hamstring stretch. So just to finish off, sat on your sofa, you can either use your footstool or whatever you've got and then hinge forwards, or you can use the sofa and you have your foot up on the length of the sofa and then pull yourself forwards. I like using the footstool, it works for me. And then just drop yourself over this thigh, and if you've got hold of your foot, that's kind of cool, you can use that and just sit in it. I don't know if you've got a pet or something that can distract you, but if you can get yourself into this shape and live in the shape while you just play with the dog, play with the cat, do some indoor fetch, good girl, then you can see, you can like spend some time here and you're not just getting bored out of your mind about doing your mobility work. Practice it daily, like multiple times per day. If your hamstring is your weak link, then the more you practice it, the better it'll get. Right, and I want you to sit up tall this time and drive your heel down until you can feel your hamstring contract, so you really understand how to connect to the strength in the posterior chain, so being able to use those hamstrings as strong as you can. So I'm pushing down a lot, I'm really driving this heel down, I feel this hamstring contract. I'm going to stretch with that contraction, pick myself back up, and then see if you can lift your foot and keep lifting it and feel muscles in your belly and hip flexors doing the thing. That's it. And try the other leg. So hinging down. Play with the dog a bit. Live in the stretch. And it's like I keep teaching, these options, the ability to move around, having a dog that wants the ball bad, come on then, come get it. Then you can kind of use that to pull you around a little bit and see if you can find other shapes that are within this, and you can add skills to your repertoire the more you do. Right, then sit yourself up, drive your heel down, really push, really push, get as strong as you can, pushing heel down, getting stronger, then try and lift that foot and use muscles in your belly, hip flexors, yes, bring it out, then move that out to the side. And see if we can get just into some kind of seat position that feels right for you. Shrug shoulders up, let them soften down, relax your jaw, and expand the rib cage, and draw it back in. Just settle into this breathing and see if you can understand it. Get a breathing apparatus to do the thing. Nice. And then bring palms together. Thumbs to forward. Tuck your chin and roll forwards. Namaste. Say namaste, Romy. All right. That is us for functional conditioning yoga. You don't need to lick my ear, Romy. It's all right. It's been good. It's been fun. Let me know what you're working with. Say bye to Romy. Say bye, Romy. All right. Thanks very much, everyone. I will see you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.